if you lawfully, you just lawfully detained me, I don't break the law.
You just asked for a supervisor.
No, but it doesn't. You just detained me. This is an illegal detainment, and
It's
it
not
started
because I need to find out who you are now.
Okay, lower your voice. We're in the library.
Just saying.
A quiet afternoon inside a public library took an unexpected turn when a man with a camera found himself face to face with police officers. What began as a simple request to leave quickly evolved into a heated debate over constitutional rights, public property, and police authority. The man insisted he had every legal right to remain inside and record. The officers believed the library had every right to remove him. As both sides refused to back down, the confrontation only became more intense. According to the officers, library staff had contacted them after becoming concerned about the man recording inside the building. Rather than immediately explaining the situation, the officers wanted a simple answer to one question: had he been asked to leave? The man, however, had a different priority. Instead of answering directly, he wanted to explain why he believed he had every legal right to be there. It soon became clear this wasn't an ordinary disagreement. The man explained that he was conducting what is commonly known as a First Amendment audit, a practice where individuals record in public places to test whether government officials respect constitutional rights. He argued that because the library is funded by taxpayers, recording there is protected under the First Amendment.
So what I'm doing here is a First Amendment protected activity. I'm recording. I know you don't care, sir, but listen, if you violate that in any way and interfere with that,
I'm not violating it. They asked you to leave.
Yeah.
The officers weren't interested in debating constitutional law. From their perspective, library employees had asked someone to leave, and now they were there to enforce that request. As the conversation continued, the disagreement shifted to a much larger legal question. Could a public library create policies that limit recording, or does the Constitution take priority over those policies? The man repeatedly insisted that internal rules could never override constitutional rights. The officers maintained that the library still had the authority to remove someone if staff believed they were violating its policies. Neither side appeared willing to reconsider their position. Believing the officers misunderstood the law, the man repeatedly requested a supervisor. He hoped someone with more experience would recognize what he believed were his constitutional protections. At first, the officers seemed reluctant. Eventually, they agreed to call one. But instead of reducing the tension, the conversation continued to spiral. As the minutes passed, the legal discussion slowly became personal. The man accused the officers of acting like tyrants.
No, I'm just requesting a supervisor just for
In a minute.
because you guys are a little bit hostile. I can see the tyrant in you, Utter.
Oh yeah.
You're a real tyrant.
Yeah.
I can see it in your eyes.
The officers responded by saying his behavior was making library visitors uncomfortable. Neither side appeared interested in finding common ground. Instead, both became increasingly convinced they were in the right. Throughout the encounter, the man repeatedly described himself as an independent journalist.
Right now, who are you serving? I'm peacefully filming, working on my story. I'm press. Freedom of the press.
We're company.
I'm independent.
He argued that freedom of the press doesn't belong only to television stations or newspapers. According to him, every citizen has the constitutional right to gather information in public places. To the officers, however, that wasn't the issue. They believed the complaints from library staff and visitors justified police involvement. Eventually, the officers made their position clear. They believed the recording itself had become a disturbance. Because library staff wanted the man removed, they intended to identify him and issue a trespass warning. The man immediately challenged that authority. He argued he hadn't broken any law, and therefore couldn't legally be trespassed from a public building. The disagreement had now reached a critical point. The turning point came when the man attempted to leave. Instead of allowing him to walk away, one officer informed him that he was now being detained.
It's considered trespassing if you enter again, so you can't just walk out of here because we don't know who you are.
Okay, watch this. Ready? Ready? I'm going to walk out of here. Am I being detained?
Yeah, you are. Because you asked for a supervisor and the supervisor's coming.
The reason? A supervisor was on the way, and the officers wanted to determine his identity before allowing him to leave. The man strongly objected. He argued that he had committed no crime and that the detention itself was unlawful. The officers explained that they needed his identification so they could officially trespass him from returning to the library. The man refused. He argued that without reasonable suspicion of a crime, police could not legally demand his identity. Neither side accepted the other's interpretation of the law. By this point, what started as a routine conversation had become a full-scale constitutional dispute. As voices became louder, the atmosphere inside the library grew increasingly tense. The officers warned that refusing to cooperate could lead to arrest. The man remained firm. He insisted he was simply exercising his First Amendment rights and accused the officers of illegally detaining a journalist.
If you you just lawfully detained me, I don't break the law.
You just asked for a supervisor.
No, but it doesn't. You just detained me. This is an illegal detainment, and
It's
it
not
started.
because I need to find out who you are now.
Okay, lower your voice. We're in the library.
Just saying.
Okay, just calm down. Use your de-escalate.
Neither side backed down. What happened next would determine whether this confrontation ended with an arrest or a lesson in constitutional law. Encounters like this have become increasingly common across the United States as First Amendment auditors test the boundaries between public access and government authority. Supporters argue these audits help ensure public officials respect constitutional rights. Critics believe they often create unnecessary confrontations and disrupt public spaces. This encounter raises an important question. When public policy and constitutional rights appear to conflict, where should the line be drawn? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Was the man exercising his rights, or were the officers simply doing their job? Let us know your perspective, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real-life encounters analyzed in depth.